Welcome to the Three and Out podcast. David McReynolds to my right, Dustin Pierce to my left. I'm Gary Gray. Glad to have you. Here's the format. We talk local football, Midland Lee, Midland High, Greenwood, Midland Christian, Trinity, UTPB. Then we do three subjects. That's the Three and Out part. We're out of here, and then it's over. We're going to hope to end this in 20 minutes. Keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it informative. First, we have some important news, though. Dustin, tell them how they can listen to Midland High, Midland Lee on our new app.
Yeah, so what's cool is this year it's a little bit different than just hunt down what station is it on the radio. So if you will go to your app store, download Midland ISD Athletics, it's going to pull up, and when you download the app, you're going to see you're going to not see just football, you're going to see Lee and Midland High. Click on whichever school you're trying to listen to, and then in the drop downs you can go to independent sports, but you can also just go to broadcast. You'll see the football schedule pop up. There'll be a little headphones icon. Click on the headphones icon. You can literally listen to the football game wherever you are. So no longer are you wondering is it on AM, is it on FM? You just go to the streaming app and you can listen to it.
So we're excited about that.
Right.
Now let's talk a little bit about district play, especially since we call the games. You and Luke for Midland Lee.
Right.
David and I with Chase for Midland High. Let's talk a little bit about Midland Lee.
I'm going to try to get over here in
I'll tell you
frame.
the district
How's
schedule,
that?
though, first.
Yeah,
Midland
tell us
Lee
what's going on.
travels to Abilene. You guys do tonight.
Yeah,
Safe
we
travels. Pebble Hill from El Paso visits Midland tomorrow. El Paso Franklin's at Permian. Jefferson City, Mississippi, a school with a population of 327.
They're a 3A school in Mississippi, yes.
They come to Odessa to play Odessa High. Friendship plays at Wichita Falls, Hershey, and Tascosa from Amarillo goes across town to play Amarillo. But let's talk about the Lee game. That's tonight, by the way.
Yeah, so Lee taking on Abilene High at Shotwell. We'll preview that game in a moment, but it's key to know this. Lee victorious 45-21 over Smithson Valley. So it was a really good game. I mean, Coach Hartman will tell you it was a tale of two halves. I mean, the first half, I guess it wasn't textbook, but it was also the first game of the season. And so here was Coach's words, though. He said, you know, it's a good thing when you give up 99 yards of rushing and you're all mad about it, you know. So the defense looked great. They brought back 9 starters, and 2 of the touchdowns that they gave up were honestly, one was a batted pass that was intercepted, set them up on the 15. The other was a blown coverage. So they gave up 1 legitimate touchdown. Beyond that, all 3 of their running backs offensively played really well. They had some sophomore tackles who they're trying to work into their starting rotation who played well. And he's really excited about where they're at and what the future looks like based on game 1. However, he said there is a lot to also work on, which is exciting because it's not like we think we've got it all figured out. So coming up this week, Abilene High, and this is just West Texas rivalry football. I mean, this is a flashback to old district play, the way that it used to be. You know, Abilene High beat Lee last year. That game was 31-24 right here at Grande Stadium. And honestly, Abilene High has had the better of Lee in the past few years, although Lee leads the all-time series. So here's some key matchups, things that we need to keep our eye out for, things you need to keep your ear out for as you listen tonight. The Eagles also return 9 starters on defense. So Lee has 9 coming back on defense. They look great on Friday night. Abilene High has 9 back on defense. Matter of fact, they not shut down, but they limited a high-powered Tascosa team that went 5 rounds deep last year. They limited them to just 312 total yards and 19 points. Wow. Pretty big deal if you know Tascosa's wishbone option offense there. So that'll be interesting. It's going to be key to see how Lee's D matches up against Abilene High's Fonzo Dotson. He rushed for 154 yards last week, junior running back. So he's going to be a tough one. Check this out about Abilene High, though. They did not allow a completed pass last week. But then offensively, they only completed 2 passes. So it's going to be really interesting. I give you what may even feel like just random tidbits back and forth, but those are kind of the key storylines. 2 great defenses, an Abilene offense that can run well, but not so sure how they can pass, an Abilene defense that did a really good job shutting down the pass, but not so sure that they've met an offense like the Lee offense that has some threats on the outside, a good quarterback. So we'll see that. Those are some of the things that we're going to be looking for tonight. And honestly, guys, beyond that, I can give some special shout-outs here when we get towards the end portion of our broadcast.
All right, awesome. Remember, that game's tonight.
Right.
The game starts at 7, 30 minutes early.
Yeah, game starts at 7. Pre-game will be at 6:30. So if you download the Midland ISD Athletics app, you can stream it right there, or you can listen on the radio 5:50 a.m.
KCRS, old-fashioned way. All right, David, we did we called the Midland High loss to Canyon Randall, traveled up there. In summary, I would say Midland High looked young.
They did. It wasn't a tale of two halves. Really, both halves were challenging for Midland High. When we looked at Canyon, their running back was so strong, and I don't think Midland High was ready for that kind of an attack from them. He racked up over 200 yards in that game. Really impressive.
Wow.
Yeah, really impressive. 130 yards in the first half.
One long run. And again, Midland High, this was sort of the thing that bit them on defense last year. Giving up the big play, gave up a couple of really, really big, long plays. But keep in mind, and we talked to Coach Anaskavich about this earlier this week, this is a very, very young team with some great sophomore athletes on it. So years to come look good. And it's almost like we discussed with him, look, use the balance of using the pre-district games to just get better and get better and get better. But if you lose several, try to keep the morale of the team up still, even though you may go into district with a losing record.
Sure, he's putting half of his players on the field at any time are sophomores.
Right.
He had 5 offensive and 5 defensive sophomores.
Okay.
So things to come. I'm excited. I think the strong part of the offense is that left side of the line. You've got Lucas Torres, Spencer Blue, Ben Browder. They all have a year of experience. So I look for them to develop that running game with R.A. and Daniel Garcia. Nick Peralta looked decent at quarterback for a kid who really should have been the starter on the JV last year and got some experience under his belt. But with the move of the McDonald kid to Midland Christian, Peralta has to come up. He's the backup to Southern Sapien. He doesn't get to play much. Yeah. So they're all just really, really inexperienced and young. And you could see that offensively. You could see it defensively.
Right.
And so we're going to call the El Paso Pebble Hills game. Yeah. That's tomorrow night at 7:30. We'll go on the air at 7. That's on KNFM or the app. And it's what'd you get from Coach about the Pebble Hills game?
He's concerned as well about their quarterback. They've got a really quick quarterback. They've got a running back, I think, that also is going to cause some problems for them. He's concerned about these teams that have juniors and seniors primarily, and his kids trying to match up with that kind of experience on the field, and is concerned about that especially this week. And just really, he's more concerned about his kids not getting down early in the season, having a loss right off the bat, making sure he keeps their heads up and he keeps them prepared and helps them see that they're improving and they're growing each week. And as long as he can keep that in front of them and keep that projection of, hey, we're getting better every week. We've got these goals we're hitting. We may not be ahead on the scoreboard each week, but if you guys are growing as football players each week, you're going to be okay. So I think he's looking to just build on each week and get some experience under these young guys' belts.
So there you have it with Lee and Midland High. Obviously, since we call those games on the radio, that's where the majority of our knowledge base is. Dustin, though, go ahead and fill us in with Greenwood, Midland Christian Trinity, UTPB.
Yeah, so Greenwood had a big win, 42-6 over Big Spring. That game last Friday, so a big opening win for the Rangers. Senior quarterback Weston Wilbur, who honestly was kind of filling in for an injured quarterback, Jake Summers, last year. And so there was that identity crisis. Am I going to be the starter? Am I not going to be the starter? Am I going to go in? Am I not going to go in? And now he's the guy. He went 8 of 10, 144 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. But he looks strong, and they're going to need him as they face Hereford, who beat Caprock 40-21. That's who they've got this week. But, you talk to some of the Greenwood kids, and they're really excited about this team. Head coach Rusty Purser, they're excited about what could be. In the private school front, Midland Christian defeated El Paso Chapin 42-0 on the road last week 417 yards of total offense, and they used 3 quarterbacks. So far, a little bit of a quarterback battle. I know that's so cliche in sports radio, sports anything, but it is. I mean, Riggs McDonald is not the guy yet. They're playing a couple of sophomores. Matter of fact, sophomore Tanner Carlisle went 6 of 9, 167 yards and a touchdown. But the other 2 guys threw touchdowns as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in that. They are taking on El Paso Americas on Friday. That'll be their home opener at Mustang Field. And then Trinity going to host Marfa in their home opener. You know, Trinity's returned to 6-man football now. And so Trinity lost 47-12 to Abilene Christian School on the road last week. So they're going to try to open up 6-man play back at home against Marfa, get back on the winning side of things.
All right, and UTPB opens.
Yeah, so UTPB football is alive and well, and what's exciting is we have college football in the Basin, and I'm just going to be the first to admit I haven't been to a game yet, but I want to work it out because this year there's 2 home games in both of our respective cities right on the front end. So they're going to start the season September 7th, which is this Saturday, against Wayland Baptist. First time they've ever played them. Mm-hmm. That game will be at Ratliff, 7 o'clock kickoff. So that'll be a great way to kind of get started with UTPB football. And then they're going to be in Midland at Grande Stadium on the 14th. And that game is against Northern Michigan. And I check me on my first thing. It's a 6 p.m. kickoff, not a 7 p.m. kickoff. Getting my high school and my college confused. But they'll start with Wayland Baptist at 6 at Ratliff. Then they'll go Northern Michigan at Grande on the 14th at 6 as well. And then beyond that, they'll get into their conference play, and there'll be some games interspersed that are going to be really good football games you're going to want to check out.
Awesome. All right, it's time for the 3 and Out portion. We each pick a topic of our own choosing, and then if we want to rant and rave or just discuss or honor or whatever, that's what we do. David.
Yeah, these could turn into rants this season. This fall, we have really a hot topic in Midland as the school bond election is going to be put in front of us in November, and I'm sure the conversation will heat up as the weeks progress and we get closer to that first week of November. But a $545.8 million bond. Just the mention of those numbers already has brought out a number of voices in our community speaking for and against. Primarily what I'm hearing is for, as far as our political candidates for mayor. All 3 of them have come out in support of our schools. But it's really interesting what it is going to do, the potential of 3 high schools in Midland. I think there's been some hope from a lot of people that those 3 high schools would then change our category, drop us from 6A to 5A, make us more competitive, but the numbers don't line up with that. That's 5 and 6A barrier is 2,100 students, and 3 high schools for us won't bring us under 2,100 students per school. They'll all still be 6A. And as a matter of fact, we'll kind of dilute ourselves even more so in the 6A category. So there are some challenges to that. Looks like we're not going to – I think there's some strategies that are in play in those conversations around the community that are causing some just a lot of conversation.
And keep in mind, we're not trying to sway a vote here.
Oh, yeah, this is not about one way or the other. It's just the facts.
And we're talking sports. So
yeah, that's it. This is the sports side of the educational argument, yeah.
But in talking to both coaches, they're very concerned in that they would be potentially the smallest 6A schools around and give up a third of their talent pool to choose from.
Yeah. And it's hard because part of you is like, yeah, that's a big concern. And then the other part is like, who the freak cares? It's football. Right. You know what I mean? Like there's the side of you that's supposed to fight that, right? Yeah. Like we need better resources. We need better this. We need better that. But that is interesting, at least the sports angle. And you can kind of take it, marinate it, and
which is what we focus on. So we're going to be biased.
We're going
towards
the sports side.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
That's right. Interesting. Thank you for those numbers.
If you built 2 high schools, though, you could build them big, and then still.
And what you would do is you would take the Allen approach to where their enrollment's 6,000 plus.
Right. That's a lot of talent.
I mean, you could easily have 2 high schools in Allen, but Allen has 1, and you've seen the pedigree that they've been able to develop this last decade with state championships and players to college football.
So on that topic, what I was going to discuss, and it sort of falls right along that line, is the competitiveness or the expected competitiveness of football in West Texas.
Right.
it's just difficult these days for a multitude of reasons. I was looking in Dave Campbell's Texas Football, sort of the Bible of high school football.
Right.
If you take a line from Harlingen, the tip of the valley, South Padre area, you go a little west and northwest of San Antonio, you travel up to Austin, Waco, Dallas-Fort Worth, Metroplex. West of that, okay, there is not a team ranked in 6A in the top 25.
Wow.
Everyone, with the exception of Longview in East Texas, defending state champs, and Midway near Waco, they're number 5, 6, and 20 respectively. All the other teams are from the Dallas-Fort Worth, Houston area, 9 each, 3 in Austin, 2 in San Antonio. So if you look at that and break that down to, okay, what does that do to college recruiting? Last year, 2018, D1, 7%, which is 24 of 348 D1 recruits, were from west of that line.
Wow.
It's a huge geographical area.
Right.
And if you look at the prospects for this year, the 2019 year, signing date 2020, less than 10 athletes of the top 300 athletes are from west of that line. Wow. So there are several in Lubbock. There are several in Amarillo. I know what your topic's going to be, and this leads right in because one of those 10 is
Loic Fungee. And I just want to take a moment. Mine's less of a rant and more of an honoring opportunity to say we have one of the best high school football players in the state right here among us. Wow. And the thing about Loic Fungee, 6'5", wide receiver at Lee, he's about the most kind and gentle and humble kid that you would meet as well. So the character matches up with the ability. There's not one as swollen in contrast to the other. Here's the thing about Loic Fungee. He's probably going to be able to go anywhere he wants to go. He's only played football since he was in junior high or very late in elementary. So he came here as a soccer player and is being developed into a football player. And so even the development that could be in the future for him, sky is the absolute limit. A D1 program could take this kid and turn him into an absolute beast. So against Smithson Valley, 4 receptions, 167 yards, 2 touchdowns against Smithson Valley. That puts him second most all-time with touchdowns. He has 20 amongst receivers in Lee history. He is, tied for most all-time with 20 for touchdowns in Lee history. Second all-time in receptions with 73, and is the all-time leading receiving yardage person for the Rebels with 1,474 yards.
At the first game of the year.
This is all after the first game of the year.
Minimum 9 to go.
That's right. And so obviously Lee's pedigree, their past has always been, they've been a rushing team. All of their categories running the ball are very swollen in Cedric Benson's favor. Loic Fungee is going to be the Cedric Benson of the receiving yards stat line for the Rebels, and he is going to be an amazing college football player one day. So Loic Fungee, shout out, keep an eye out for him, number 11, Lee Rebels.
And the word is he's narrowed it down, Texas or Texas Tech. That's what I heard yesterday.
We'll see. I mean, the hard thing is you hear reports like that, and then you go to lunch with teenagers, and they're like, nah, he doesn't like that school. And so I want to be real careful with that. But rumor does have it from a couple of trustworthy sources he'll be at Texas this weekend in the Texas LSU game.
Heard that.
And so we'll see if that makes up his mind or if he kind of leans another way. But I think a very special season for him is on the horizon.
That's awesome. A lot to look forward to. So remember, we have a new app, Midland ISD Athletics. Go to your app store, download that. It's simple. You can listen to Dustin and Luke tonight. They're going to call the Lee game. Pre-game at 6:30. The game's at 7. Tomorrow night, David, Chase, and I will call Pebble Hills here at Midland at Grande. That game, pre-game is at 7. The game starts at 7:30. Right. So download the app. Listen in. Love to have your comments. We're also going to try some Facebook Live. You can check out this podcast at
we hope at YouTube at 3 and Out.
YouTube.
We have a YouTube channel that we're going to load this up at. This will be our experimental week. We hope to have all that worked out and so that you have these.
It will also be on our Facebook page. So for Dustin Pierce, David McReynolds, I'm Gary Gray. We are 3 and we are out.